You, check. What's up, guys? How we doing? We're a little late getting started because we have the Colombian Air Force in the house. And I had to go clear up some VNAV discussions that they were having. There's a delay on the YouTube feed. There's a delay. Maybe just turn off the YouTube audio. So hey, we're here. That's the important thing. Are you here? We're here. We're getting rolling. Let me open up the feed so I can check the chat. We got the Colombian Air Force in the house, and that is why we're starting a little bit late, but we are here to talk nonetheless. What are we talking about? I have it written here. Selecting a flight academy and the difference between training at an airline versus training at a training center. Okay, so thrilled to be here with you guys. I'm going to get cranked up here in just a second in terms of actually getting started talking, but I just want to give a couple moments for people to join in. So how are you all doing? Thrilled to be here with you guys. Maybe we should zoom the camera in a little bit. What do you think?
It's fine. You look good.
I look far, don't I? No? What do you think? Should we zoom it in or not? Shally says we're good, we're cool. She's like, no, it looks okay. So look, man, I want to share with you that the industry is rebounding. This is good news. The industry's turning around. Brother and sister, you know, it's funny, I have a video posted on YouTube. It's probably a year ago, right? Mm-hmm. I put a video up on YouTube a year ago, and you guys should go read the comments. There's some interesting comments there. I was basically saying all things pass at some point. If you just wait long enough, eventually it'll pass. And they were, I got some criticism for that because people were saying, well, this one's not, you know, this is different, this one's whatever, you know. And I'll be honest, you know, I knew it would rebound. It rebounded faster than I thought. I thought it'd take a little bit longer, but it's rebounding quite nicely, which is good news for all of us, right? So with that, schools and airlines. When you train at a school versus when you train at an airline, it is very much, it can be a different environment. It can be such that you have a different experience, not only with instructor, but the processes, the scheduling, the instruction, the sim support partner that you're with. Everything could very much be different depending upon what environment you're actually training in. I don't know why, but I want to zoom in the camera just a little bit. I feel like I look so far. So hang on a second, man. Let me zoom this in. Does it look okay?
I think it's okay.
How's that?
Not so much.
All right, they're saying it looks fine. Maybe I'm the crazy one. I'm the crazy one. Hey, if you're ever in Miami and you want to come watch this live in person, please come on by, and we'll set you up here with a chair, have a little glass of wine. Yeah, maybe we have a little coffee or something, or cookies. We got the Colombian Air Force next door with some cookies. Maybe we do that. Okay, so. Got a couple comments already. JM Aerials, hey Joe, transitioning from helicopters into jet, what advice do you have? Helicopters to jet. What environment? Well, first and foremost, if you're transitioning into a jet, getting used to operating what's referred to as a mode control panel, okay, MCP. This is basically how we talk to the autopilot. So becoming used to how to talk to the autopilot and the crew concept and understanding energy management, because unlike a helicopter, you can't hover, you know, in a 737. So it can become a challenge when you start to need to go down, slow down at the same time, and managing energy. So I'd be focused on talking to the autopilot, getting the aircraft to respond in the way you intend for it to respond, the crew concept, and energy management. Those would be my focal points, all of which we talk about in our online program. And then if you're going to be flying a jet, JM Aerials in an airline, you would definitely want to start to understand the operations of an airline. What is an amendment? What is an operation control center? What is a dispatcher? What is a CSA? Like these are different terms and what have you that you're going to want to become aware with. Mike G, what's going on, Mike? Okay, good afternoon, good to see you. Ariane, what's happening? Okay, at any point, folks, if you want to talk, please, as we have people here in chat typing, type in chat. Or, thank you, you can call me on the phone. The phone number is 786-536-2002. 786-536-2002. I will be talking to you here on the air, so everyone's going to hear you. Just know that when you call in. So let's talk about the difference in training at a training center versus at an airline. Here's the main thing that I want you to take away right now. If you train at a training center, this is a 142 training center. This is where you go and you pay for your type rating. That training center is a profit center. What does that mean? It's what it sounds like. They are there for a profit. If they could give you more training, they will. Right? They're there they're in the business of training. At an airline, they are not in the business of training. Training for an airline is a cost center. You understand the difference? Training at a training center is a profit center. They're there to profit off of training. Training at an airline is a cost center. They do not make money off of training. In fact, frankly, if they could get away with training less, they would. Because they very much don't want to spend money on training, right? They make their money flying passengers and goods from point A to point B. They don't make it on training, which is totally different from a profit center, right? So what does that mean? When you go to a training center and you pay for your type rating at a profit center, if it's a half-decent training center, you should very much expect an experience of you being the client, the customer, training at the highest levels, and facilitated data transfer. That's what you should expect. Not saying that's what you will, because I'm going to share some other stuff with you here shortly. At an airline, you should also very much, I would love to think that's what you're going to get in terms of training, but understand that training is not the product. Training is a byproduct of what the real product is, which is, as I already said, the transportation of passengers, freight, goods, and services. Ariane, I do work for an airline. Thank you for asking. It's not a personal question, my friend. I'm very transparent. I'll share whatever you want to know. All right, so now that you understand the difference between a profit center and a cost center, let's talk about if you need an extra sim session. If you need an extra sim session at a training center, from a personal standpoint, from a standpoint of your training records, not a good thing. From a perspective of the instructor, not a good thing. I don't like sending any student, unless it's, of course, if you need it, you need the remedial training. But ideally, you get through training and you don't need remedial sessions, right? And if you do at a training center where you pay, that's a profit. That's additional profit for the training center. At an airline, it's a cost. It's more of a problem for them than a profit because it's an additional cost as opposed to additional revenue. Make sense? So now, when you're going to a flight school that you're going to pay for your training, right? Because when you get hired at an airline, for the most part, you have no whatever their approved curriculum is, that's what you're going to be doing, right? But when you're selecting a training center, when you're selecting any training provider, can we turn this light on, Charlie? I'm sorry. Okay, when we're selecting a training provider, there are certain things that you want to have in mind. And I can't tell you how many times we have the single number one question we get all the time, okay? I'm going to share it with you. Let me just write it here so I don't forget to share it with you. The number one question we get all the time. But I'm not going to share it right now, man. Okay, give me a second. I got to get through a couple points first, and then I'm going to share this with you, okay? There's some considerations, all right? There's some considerations. Number one, when you're selecting a training center, The quality of the instruction is paramount. It's crucial that you understand the quality of the instruction. Why? Because the quality of instruction is not only directly related to your competency flying the plane, it's also related to your cost that you will incur when you come to training. If you have an instructor that is very much not centered on proving how much they know, but more so being of value to you as the student and facilitating data transfer, you will very likely absorb and retain better information, which would lead to a lesser likelihood of needing an extra ground session or sim session, which directly relates to the cost that you would expect to pay out of your pocket. So that's the first thing. You need instructors that genuinely care. Not about collecting their day rate and not about proving how much they know, but of being there for you. You have to have this level of instruction. That's number one. And by the way, that's what we stand for, and that's why every live stream you see me with this home of the AX3 instruction. That means AX3 is a trademark instruction methodology that we've put together that basically is 3 A's: attention, awareness, and accountability. For you to be an effective instructor, you need to have these 3 characteristics. And unfortunately, it's usually lacking. So we are very much of the opinion that you need somebody who genuinely cares. That's the first thing. The next thing is availability of resources. You need a school that not only has instructors, has examiners, and has simulator access. Because what happens is when you show up, let's just say today, it's Wednesday, May 19th. Okay, I got my calendar here in front of me because I got a couple announcements to make for you on some dates. But let's say that you started training on Monday the 17th of May. You showed up for day 1 of enrollment at your new, whatever type rating you're going for, 7.3 or 320, what have you. And you find out that for whatever reason, your instructor is not going to be available on the 18th, and they don't have anybody to replace them. So now you're already an extra day that you will have to pay for out of your pocket at the hotel. Now, fast forward. Let's say that you get to sim session number 3. It didn't go so hot. You need to do that session over again, and they're going to have to book you for another session. Now they need to find resources. They need a sim. They need an instructor. Right? If it was a PC or a check that didn't go so well, now they need to schedule a TCE again, a training center examiner, which is your examiner. If they don't have resources, what happens is you end up waiting for them to have somebody available for you. You end up waiting for an instructor to become available, for a classroom, for a sim, for an examiner to become available. And by the way, while you're waiting, because you probably don't live here, you're not waiting at home, you're waiting in a hotel room, and guess who's paying for the hotel room? You. So there is a, this is why I say, a lot of times you look at something that type rating is so cheap by this academy. Yeah, but they don't check these other boxes. So ultimately you're going to end up paying later on. Maybe you don't pay it up front, but inevitably you're going to end up paying it later on. And by the way, not only are you going to pay it, you're probably going to pay it 2, 3, maybe 4 times over what it would have cost you to just go to a place that is more equipped, better equipped to handle this kind of thing. So they need resources, okay? They need resources. They need good instructors, good availability of resources. And now this comes to the question that we get asked, the number one question that we get asked, okay? I want you to leave it in the chat. What do you think the number one question we get asked is? And it relates to pilots that are at other schools, and then they call here. All right, I'm going to hang you with that, and I want to get to some of these questions that I see in the chat, but leave your answer to that if you happen to know the answer to that in the chat room. Let's see. Ariane, which airline? I fly for Spirit. I do fly the 320. I used to fly the 7.3. I teach both. Qualities of a good pilot? Matus, always learning, period. It's what Devansh, I think is how you pronounce that. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. Devansh. The qualities of a good pilot is that you're always learning. You don't think you know it all. I always say there's almost like a scale of knowing, right? You know very little. You start to know. This can be applied to life. Forget about flying airplanes. I'm talking about life right now. You know nothing. Then you start to know, and eventually you know so much that you realize how much you don't know. And you end up actually, instead of knowing all this, you end up popping out on the other side of the scale again, realizing, I know nothing. And so what happens is most of the time people are actually on the side of not being fully aware or not knowing. They want to be on the side of knowing everything, so they project this ego and insecurity of having to be the know-it-all. This is true with a poor CRM environment with a captain that wants to be an astronaut. They don't know, they want to feel like they know, and then it projects into a poor CRM environment. The truth is, people that I have met that truly are very knowledgeable also are acknowledging that they know a lot less than what they think, because there's just so much to know. And I can tell you, man, teaching the A320 and the 737 for the last I don't know how many years, these planes were built over 20 years with 20,000 people, hundreds of thousands of pages worth of documentation. How can one person know everything? It's not even possible. Not even possible. There's no way. So you're always learning. That's the number one. What I would certainly believe to be one of the great characteristics of a good pilot. Always learning, always open to feedback, not easily offended. That's probably a pretty big one. What else we got here? Antonio, hey, are the airlines hiring pilots even if I'm from another country? If you're legal to work in the U.S., they'll hire you, but you got to be legal to work in the U.S. And if you have an FAA license, because you're flying a November registered airplane. So November registered plane requires FAA license, and you need a work permit or something to that effect to be able to work in the U.S. Antonio, what's going on? Hey, call me up, 786-536-2002, 786-536-2002. By the way, let me just put a little something here on my people watching for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, YouTube, LinkedIn. What's another one they're going to come out with? TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. Maybe I should get a TikTok. Should I get a TikTok?
Yeah.
I should get a TikTok? Shiley says I should get a TikTok. A company TikTok. Do you have a TikTok? Do you guys have TikTok? It's just fun to say it. TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. All right. Hey, let me ask my peeps on Instagram. Should I get a TikTok? We're live right now on YouTube. Go check out the live stream. We're talking about training centers. We got Mr. Hector in the house. He's over there. If you want to come observe us here and watch the live show, come check us out. All right. So look. Should I get a TikTok? The number one question. What is it, Joe? What is it? What is it? What's the number one question? The number one question, folks, we get is this. A student is at a training center somewhere else. They call us up and they say, hey, I'm at this training center. This is what's going on. I'm halfway through the training, or I'm a third or 3/4 of the way through the training. Could I come finish with you guys? Or they gave me a remedial session. Could I just come do the remedial with you and then pick up from where I left off with you guys and finish at your center? In other words, what they're asking is, can I transfer credit? Can I take what I've done at this academy and go do it at another academy? Now, the short answer to that is no. You can't, unfortunately. Now, let me share with you why. And this is why it's so important that you pick the right academy to do your training. Because once you pick it and you pay, you're locked in. It's very unlikely they're going to give you a refund, number one. Number two, you can't transfer any of the credit. So if you get stuck in an academy with poor instruction, poor processes, no resources or limited availability to resources, you're stuck. So all of a sudden, that type rating that only cost $10,000, $12,000 versus the one that was $14,000, that $2,000 difference that you didn't want to pay, you're paying the price for it now. And this happens. So let me explain a very significant difference in type rating training centers as opposed to the 141, which is the primary training, private pilot, instrument, commercial, multi-engine, ATP, right? Or 61. Part 61 training, you're basically doing private, instrument, commercial, multi. You're doing it at your own pace. Part 141 is more structured. Part 142 is type ratings. In a Part 61 or 141 environment, you could very well transfer credit. You could fly in a Part 61 environment and take those hours that you've flown into a 141 environment. You could even go to a FSDO, a Flight Standards District office, and you could hire an examiner, rent a GA airplane. Let's say you want to do a private pilot check ride. You started at ABC flight school. You flew enough hours to do your solo, you built up enough time, and you're right at the point of getting your private pilot check ride, right? And then you decide, you know what, I don't like ABC flight school. I want to go to DEF flight school, different flight school. You could take those hours with you, and you could use an examiner from that other flight school to give you your check ride. Not only that, you could actually also go to the Flight Standard District's office. You could contract an examiner because they're free to contract anywhere, right? And you could rent an airplane from an academy somewhere, and they can give you your check ride and give you the sign-off. That's not the case in 142 type rating training. Why? Because the examiners in a 142 type rating training environment are what is referred to as TCEs. TCEs. TCE stands for Training Center Examiner. Okay, let me say that again. TCE means Training Center Examiner. That examiner can give you an exam for the training center that they're qualified to give you an exam for. In other words, if you have an examiner, we have an examiner here at One Step Prep Academy. One SPA, as we like to call it, one spa. Welcome to the spa, baby. Maybe we put a little massage table outside, okay? A type rating center examiner, One Step Prep Academy, TCE, can only give exams for One Step Prep Academy. They cannot go anywhere else and give exams for somebody else. They have to do it for people here in this academy. So you can't just take what you've done somewhere else or this training, right? Take this training, go somewhere, and then, hey, can this examiner give me? No, because it has to be the examiner that was approved for the examination of the course that you have been enrolled with at that academy. Has to be in that academy. So that's the first thing, right? The next thing is this. You have to complete a curriculum in its entirety at that one school. In other words, our curriculum, right? 7 days of ground school, followed by 4 fixed base sessions and 7 full motion sims. Let's say you go to some other center, which is 5 days of ground school, 2 fixed base sims, and 4 full flight sims. That's a different curriculum that is approved with different training center examiners. So you have to complete a curriculum in its entirety. So there's no transferring, unfortunately. So I guess what I'm saying, and I'm going to get to the questions. I know I have some questions here. What I'm saying, folks, boys and girls, guys and gals, children of all ages, make sure you pick the right flight school that values you as a student, that provides instruction, AX3 certified, with an instructor that is focused and centered on you, not on themselves. They have adequate resources. And then, by the way, you're not going to be worried about whether you can transfer credit because you'll feel at home. You're at the right place. All right? Come by and we'll train you with the rubber chicken, okay? Now let me get to some of these questions here. Aeroflot, Russian Airlines. I'm not too familiar with what's going on in terms of hiring in Russia, but there's probably a pilot shortage worldwide. I know there's certainly one here in the U.S., and I don't think that's, what do you think, Hector? There's probably one all over the world. I think you can pretty much go anywhere, at least, maybe not this second, but there's going to be a pretty good pilot shortage coming up here. 3-4 months? Yeah, probably. Your videos show me to cope with one engine inoperative. Help me a lot. Thank you, sir. Thank you, brother or sister. Appreciate you. Parshwa, hi Joe. Want to understand how to avoid long landings, landing beyond the touchdown zone in an A320. If you can help sharing some technique. The way to not land long is to have a stable approach. What does that mean? That means on the localizer, on the glide slope, on your speed, okay, VAP in the case of a 320, or VREF for the 737 drivers. It's the same thing, okay? VAP, at VAP, on localizer, on glide slope by 1,000 feet. And if you're VAP, you know, plus 10, 15, even up to 20, but you're slowing in the right direction, and you're stable by 1,000, certainly by 500 in terms of the speed, then that is the number one thing I can tell you to having landings where you don't float forever. Now, I will share something else with you as well, which is a lot of times people end up floating because they want a super, super smooth landing. The objective is to land on the center line in the touchdown zone. In fact, the examiner is looking for you to land in the center line in the touchdown zone. The third thing they're looking at is how smooth is it. But the first one is center line, touchdown zone, because I got news for you. If it's not in the center line, let's say it is in the center line for a second, but it's not in the touchdown zone. You're perfectly centered, but you overshoot the touchdown zone. And the landing is silky smooth, but you're halfway down the runway. And it's silky smooth, right? It'll be that smooth until you go off the end of the runway. And then it's not smooth anymore. So what I'm saying is, you want to be in the touchdown zone, you want to be on the center line, and then the third thing of the least priority is how smooth it is. I know that's how passengers grade us as pilots. How smooth did we land? Okay? But the fact of the matter is you want to focus on these two things, and those two things are accomplished not in the flare. They're accomplished by backing up to the approach. And you want to be stable, configured, and on speed by 1,000, certainly no later than 500, and that'll aid you greatly. All right? What else we got? Ariane, how do you know which flight school will be the best for you? Find a place, Ariane, that cares about you and not the money. I mean, that's what I would tell you for that. That they're people motivated and not profit motivated. And I can say that with full transparency right online to everybody here, because there's a lot of schools that are profit motivated and not people motivated. And we are more people motivated, which is why I come on here and do these streams and answer your questions for free. So that's what I would share with you. You need resources, you need people that are interested in you, that are interested in your success. It may be a little bit more costly just because of the cost of the overhead, but it's worth it so much more, right? It's like saying, hey, do you want everything cheap ultimately becomes expensive at some point, right? So just, in Spanish we say, lo barato sale caro. Para todos los latinos escuchando, ¿me entiende? Lo barato sale caro. So that means just pay the money, bro. And you get what you pay for, okay? Charlie's crawling around the studio because she doesn't want to be on the camera. Get on the camera. Say hello to the crowd, okay? Check ride next 2 days. 1-1. I don't know what your name is, brother. 1-1. I'll just call you 1-1. You got a check ride in 2 days. Is it on the 737 or is it on the A320? Which of the two? Hope it goes well for you. Let me know. Please let me know, okay? Hey, call in if you want to talk right here, 786-536-2002, 786-536-2002. I think I'm talking a little loud. We got the Colombian Air Force here. They're training 4 guys, the presidential pilots of the Colombian Air Force. Okay, they're right here with us. 4 or 5 of their pilots. I think it's 4 of their pilots that are in the next door room here. So look, if you want to train with us, please come by. We're hosting a couple classes up and coming. This is why I had my calendar here. I was thinking why I had my schedule here in front of me. We had a 3-day A320 ground school that was phenomenal. Okay, I thought it went very well. Mike was actually in the chat. Mike, if you're in there, maybe you can attest to that. Or if you thought it wasn't good, just let him know it wasn't any good too, brother. It's all good. But I guess what I'm saying is I thought it went very well. First day was systems, second day was flight control laws, and then a little bit of operations. Third day was very much operational. We have a desktop sim that we use. I actually run it straight off of this computer that you see here on the screen. And I literally did a flight with the participants from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando and went through all the phases of the MCDU. We did an ILS approach. We did a RNAV approach. We did we did the RNAV approach. We did a go around. We talked about Cat 3 fail passive versus fail operational, which basically means Cat 3 single versus Cat 3 dual. It's all Cat 3 auto lands, required RVR transmissometers. Like, man, we really talked about a lot of things. It was 8 hours a day. It was 24 hours. It was such a wild success. We're doing another one, okay? And also, it was streamed online. So even though maybe you can't make it here in person, we can stream it online to you, and you would very much be able to be here with us in person, just like what you're seeing this. The next one's going to be June 28th. This is the plan as of now. June 28, 29, 30. June 28, 29, 30. Hector!
I would love it be there.
You're welcome to the class, my friend, okay? We got Hector here that he's the man, okay? So 28, 29, and 30th of June. The price is $997. $997. If you want to be here in person. If you want to do the live stream, $297 is the price. $297. It'll be recorded, and you can and you'll have it for 30 days thereafter. By the way, if you attend in person, that recording you'll also get. Okay. If you're interested in that, let me throw it in the chat. Go to onestepprep.com/3 days. onestepprep.com/3 days, and thank you so much. And we would love to have you here in class. Ariane, which desktop sim do we use? We utilize something called Prepare 3D. It's a Lockheed Martin product, Prepare 3D, along with the FS Labs A320 add-on. Those of you that are familiar with sims, okay, online, you will very much know what I'm talking about. Okay, Prepare 3D, A320 FS Labs. All right. Let me say this though, you need a computer that can run that program. It's a little bit intense. This is a gaming laptop. The most expensive piece of equipment to run the sim is the laptop. This computer was about $1,200, between $1,200 and $1,400. The sim Prepare 3D is like $100, and then the add-ons another whatever $100. So then you need a joystick, you know, to fly the thing. So, you know, you count on spending somewhere between $1,800 to $2,000. But you get a fully functional A320 sim, and I would very much invest the money in it. In fact, the reason I bought it, by the way, was not only to use it in class with students, but also because at the height of this pandemic last year, 2020, I took a leave of absence, 4 months without flying. I'm of course back to flying now, but for 4 months I didn't fly, and so what I did was I needed to continue doing my flows, loading the MCDU, like get used to looking at the FMA. You know, you got to take your craft seriously, right? So I put the money forth because I wanted to stay sharp for those months that I was off from flying. All right, Mike, A320 3-day was excellent. Thanks, Joe and Juan. Truly loving to instruct. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you, brother. It was awesome having you here. Come by again, and maybe we'll bring them some more donuts, man. Bring some donuts.
Yeah.
Mike was in our last 3-day class, and he brought some fresh donuts.
Yeah.
And funny enough, Shally likes donuts, Mike. There you go. Glazed donuts. Okay, Dunkin' or Krispy Kreme. But I think Krispy Kreme. What do you like, Hector? Krispy Kreme or Dunkin'? Krispy Kreme. Okay, Krispy Kreme it is. Some Krispy Kreme donuts. So let me share the donut story. On day 2, this is a real thing that happened to me on OE. I'm day 2 of the class. Let me back up for a second. Day 2 of the class, I introduced this concept of getting fresh donuts in the descent on the A320, right? Now, I know that right now that doesn't mean anything to you other than perhaps glaze from Krispy Kreme, but I'm flying on OE. This truly happened to me. I'm flying. It was actually right after OE. And the captain I'm flying with, we're descending into Oakland, California on the West Coast. And he says, hey, can you give me fresh donuts? And I'm like, huh? I don't know what he's talking about. I have no idea what he's talking about. Can you give me fresh donuts? Fresh donuts relates to the resetting of the vertical path. And there's a way for you to do that. In fact, there's several ways to do that. And on day 2 of this 3-day class, I introduced the concept. And Mike comes the next day with fresh donuts for the class. So we appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. All right, what else we got going on in here? Ariane, FS Labs 320 is the most accurate out there. I agree. You know, I haven't found a more accurate sim out there. I've looked at other sims. There's some good ones, but FS Labs is the best I've come by. It's worth the investment if you're serious about your career, all right? 737-800 Captain Joe, I want to come for A320 check ride. How much is it? The A320 program will be available. We're hopeful for 4th quarter this year. The 737 will be available first. I don't exactly have a price for you yet, but I can tell you it'll be very much competitive with the others, which is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of between 12 to 14,000, something to that effect. About 12 to 14, right? Brian Meir, PC simulators helped me so much. Started flight simming at the beginning of primary flight school, and I'm flight simming ever since. Years and years later, I had my first PPL lesson. I was able to fly from takeoff to landing without assistance. Investing into home simulator, totally worth it. Absolutely, man. Absolutely worth home simulation. By the way, the story of me and my training, if you don't know, I'm 28 years old. I started flying when I was 13, and the first thing I flew was a flight simulator on a desktop sim. Okay, I'm living in Merritt Island, Florida. If you don't know where that is, that's the Space Coast where the SpaceX basically launches their rockets from. And back then it wasn't SpaceX, it was a space shuttle program. And I decided one day, after going to a wedding, really, I flew out of town. I was 13. I flew to a wedding for a family member. I was old enough to appreciate what flying was, and I decided I want to be a pilot. So I get home, and I'm like, man, I want to be a pilot. How do I do this? Step one was go to Target and buy Flight Simulator. I went to Target 5 minutes from my house. I bought Flight Sim for 40 bucks. I bought a yoke. I started flying the Flight Sim. I had no idea what I was doing, by the way. Zero. I had no idea. I just thought it'd be cool to fly the biggest thing that I could find. So I fly the 747 on there. And then later on I flew the 737 on the sim. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that to go up I had to probably do this. That made sense. And then after that I started to learn enough about flying, funny enough, from the King Schools videos that are embedded in Microsoft Flight Sim 2004, which I believe is probably the best sim that's come out to date. Although I think they came out with a new one. I haven't tried it yet though. So I learned from their videos. And then I get serious enough that I want to go and actually start flying for real. So I dropped by a local flight academy in Merritt Island Airport. It's called Voyager Aviation. They're still there, if I'm not mistaken, Voyager Aviation. Let me just look it up. I'm kind of curious. Voyager Aviation, Merritt Island. Yeah, they're still there. Probably different ownership. But anyway, that's where I started. And then, yeah, man, just from there it took off. So sim, I put so many hours in on that desktop sim, I can't even begin to tell you. You know, I really did. I'm running a race in Merritt Island on September 18th. It's a 10K, that's 6 miles. I'm raising money, and I'm matching it dollar for dollar. And the plan is I'm giving $2,000 to 5 student pilots. $2,000 to 5 student pilots. So if you want to contribute to that, or you want to be a recipient to that, go to onestepprep.com/race. Maybe we can throw that in the chat. By the way, I don't really run a lot. I've always been more of a guy in the gym lifting weights, okay? But I started running because my sister got me into it. Jackie, if you're watching it, what's going on, Jackie? She got me into running. And she said, you got to do this race with me. You got to do this race with me. It's a 10K. It's September 18th of this year. So I said, in order to make it more, to give me more motivation to do it and make it more purposeful and impactful, I'm going to tie this fundraising thing and I'm going to give the money away to these student pilots, because now I have to do it. Because if I don't, I'm not only letting down myself, I'm letting down those other 5 people. So I have to do it now, and that's the reason I did that. All right, what else we got? Brian Branimir. 2004 was the cause for my career goal. I think that's probably true for a lot of people, dude, including me. I mean, like it was just such a good sim. What do you think about flying 320 versus 737? Love the 320. Never thought I would say that. I always thought if it's not Boeing, I'm not going. And yet here I am flying the 320. Now I got to tell you though, if it's not, see, Hector's got a, hey, bring that thing to me, man. Let me see this. He's got a lanyard. Hey, we should make some one-step prep lanyards, right? He's got a lanyard. I won't show where you work, though. Let me just put this down here. He's got a lanyard that says, if it's not Boeing, I'm not going. And I was very much of this opinion, right? Until the opportunity to fly a 320 presented. And so I never used to like the 320. I have grown to appreciate the 320 very much. It's a very comfortable cockpit. It's pretty quiet, to say the least, but very, very comfortable. The tray table is incredible. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but that tray table, man, is really, really, really helpful. So I love the 320. I love flying the 320. I love teaching it. I also love teaching the 737, but if I had to choose one to fly daily, I would choose the 320. It's just so much more comfortable, guys. It really is. But I really love teaching them both. And by the way, you cannot go wrong on either one. If you're looking, if you're asking yourself, if you're wondering, which type rating should I get? 737 or A320. Either one, you're not going to go wrong. I wouldn't necessarily get like MD-80. Nah, those are being phased out. 777, love the plane, but too few opportunities. 747, too few opportunities. 767 has quite a bit of opportunities actually pretty recently now. But I don't know that I'd pay for the type rating. If you're going to pay the rating, I'd do 73 or 320. Joao Antonio, hi there from Brazil. Big fan of your classes. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. We appreciate you very much. 20 kilos on the trade table. I think, what does that convert to in pounds? I think that's right, Bramir. Yeah, man. So, look, if you want to, come on in the shop, man. Look what we have over here. Okay, we got Juan, JD.
What do we got here today?
JD's in the house. Okay.
JD's in the house. Let me scream and shout. Look what we got here.
We got your, come in, man, come in.
Hey, so
we have some students. They're coming into the studio.
So what are we talking about today?
You don't have to get in the camera.
Entra.
We got some students, but they're camera shy, man.
So what question do we have?
We have a bunch of questions, man. I had a conversation with a captain who used to fly a 320 before 737. He said CrossFit landing on 320 way more easier. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily easier. I don't know if it's necessarily easier, but they're both great, man. That's all I can tell you. I love them both, man. I really do. Colombia's in the house! Okay, we got some people here checking out our live stream. Let's see what else we got going on. Bramir, as far as I remember the trade 10, we talked about that. What other questions you got for us? 3-day course coming up, 28, 29, 30th of June. 28, 29, 30th of June.
A320.
A320. OneStepPrep.com /
If you guys want 737, let us know, huh?
3 days.
Also doing when do we plan to do the 73?
I haven't given them the days yet. But I have it here. No, it's right here. It's front. I got to relax. Everybody relax, man. Enjoy life, okay? It's I got it. It's July 19th, 20th, and 21st, okay? July, can you throw that in the chat there real quick? July, actually, let's put both days for them. Put June.
June for the A320, July for the 73.
A320 is in June, 28, 29, 30. 28, 29, 30, and 737 is going to be in July 19, 20, 21. July 19th, 20, and 21. All right, it's a 3-day deep dive. If you're interested in either one, OneStepPrep.com / 3 days.
3 days. With Joe and with the JJT.
Okay. What other questions you got? Hey, call us up if you want to talk on the phone, 786-536-2002. That number, they really gave us a good number. It just sounds good.
I like the number, yeah.
786-536-2002.
Yeah, pretty easy. Not bad at all.
786-536-2002. Hey, we have a chicken here. Now,
here we go again with the chicken.
This chicken doesn't make any noise. The little squeaker thing, this one doesn't actually have it. So my question to you is, do you prefer the chicken with the noise, or do you prefer the chicken that has no noise? Okay.
The chicken with the noise.
The chicken with the noise. And the only reason I carry this one is because I can fold it up and put it in my backpack, and then I can take it and throw it out. In fact, I have a sim session tonight. Maybe I'm going to take this with me, and we'll have a little fun with this chicken. Okay?
Bird strike.
Okay. That's how this was born, by the way.
Yeah.
We were training bird strikes in a sim. And the V1 cut happened because of a bird strike, and I threw this thing in front there to the panel for the guys. What else? What are the questions we got? So hey, if you're training at let me go back to the original reason for the feed, which is I was talking about if you're training at an airline versus a training center. If you're training at an airline, remember it's a cost center at an airline. They don't want to pay for training as much as little as they can train, as little as they can pay. They're going to pay as little as they can versus a profit center. They're very much. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Hey.
Do you like this chicken or do you like this chicken? Okay, wait a minute. Let me put this thing on now. Hang on a second, man. We got to get this on Instagram. Wait a minute. Huh? Okay.
Hey, we use this one for ground school, actually. This is the one that we use for ground school. That one we use it for the sim.
Which chicken do you like?
Nobody fires.
The one with noise or with no noise?
They say I prefer with the noise.
I prefer with the noise. That's what they're saying.
I prefer the noise too.
Okay. All right, so we'll keep the one with the noise then. All right, we'll keep the one with the noise. All right, hey, let me give the microphone to Juan for a second because I got to take this call. Stand by. Very important. Hang on.
Virtuous approach.
No, not at all. Go for it.
So what else we have? What else we have, Charlie? So Charlie, we already have it in the chat, right? For the training?
Yeah.
Good. Hey, let us know. Let us know, man. Let me put Joe's mic over here for a minute, man. Let me put it on over here so you can hear me now and clear now. Here we go. Yeah, now we're going to be talking about the visual approach in the A320. Any minute here, let me see what else we got here. Anything for the visual approaches? Who else we got there? The differences between procedures and outline. Here we go. Okay, hey, we're going to be covering everything, man. We're going to be covering everything on the 3-day course on the A320. You guys missed the one that we just did. When did we do the last one? It was last week? From the 10th to the 12th. We just did that one on the A320. It was excellent. 3-day course. We're going to give you another chance on the A320, Boeing 737. Let us know. Joe is coming back. He's going to continue with you guys on all these approaches on the A320. Make sure if you're here in Miami, pass by. We're always here to help you, like the FAA says, right? We're always here in Miami. We're in 36th Street, Crystal Palace. So if by any chance you're coming down here for vacation or for training, pass by. So you can be here in the studio with us, or we can guide you through your training. All right? So pass by. We're in 36th Street, 5600 Northwest 36th Street. This is Miami Springs, Florida, 33178. Okay, so this is the address for the office. We always here for you guys. All right? 56, what is it? 33166. Yeah, 33166. That's the zip code for here for Miami Springs. All right. All right, so man, any old school guys here? Where's everybody? Munoz Mission. Oh, Lord. Hey, which training you guys prefer first, 7-3 or A320? We need some answers on this because we always talking about going back and forth. Which training should we do first, Boeing 737 or A320? We're going to do both anyway, but which one do you think we should do first? We need some quick answers on this. A320 or 7-3? It could be the NG, and of course, A320, or it could be the Classic. On the 7-3, we do both. We do the Classic and we do the NG. So what do you think? Somebody say something. 7-3 or A320? Which one should we do first? A320? Good. So then we do the A320. Everybody say A320? Yeah, A320. Here we go. All right. So A320 is going to be, man, I don't see nobody for the 7-3. Nobody's saying anything about the 7-3. Javier, what do you think? 7-3, I know that. 7-3, I know Javier is going to say 737. All right. And we have Captain Javier here in the studio. Right, Javierito? Yeah, he's flying the 7-3 for an airline. And pretty soon he's going to be, let me give him the news, man. Pretty soon, I know for sure, Javier, you're going to be in the 320. So pretty soon he's going to be switching from the 7-3 to the 320. You know? Good news?
Yeah.
What do we got? Give me the good news, man. Give me the good news. Give me the good news. Hey, we got some good news going on. We don't know. Everybody's hiding from me now. They left me here in the studio by myself. And everybody's going back and forth. Well, give me the good news. Nothing yet? Come. So I know something. I know something is going on.
No, you can keep that. Hey, I had to step off for a second because I'm waiting for a call. It came in. They got to call me back, so I might have to step off here for just a second. But we're here, man. We're here. We're doing this. How are we doing? What other questions do we have going on?
A320. Everybody wants A320. Okay, well, what else? 737?
No, what's the difference between A320 and A320neo?
The Neo is the new engine option, and the A320 is the CEO, which is referred to as the current
Actually,
engine
it's just engine,
option.
right? It's just engine.
Yeah, it's just the engine.
It's pretty much the same. It's just engine. That's the big difference on both of them.
Yeah, it's really just a matter of the engine.
The engines, yeah.
New engine option, current engine option. The Neo.
You flew the Neo, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've flown the Neo. They're nice. They're quiet. They're powerful, and they're economic. Beautiful. And, well, they don't have dual engine start. They have dual cooling. That's something else we can talk about. That's a whole ground school, man. Dual cooling. Basically, we can turn both engines using one APU at the same time in order to cool down the engines. But the CEO can't do that, but the Neo can do that. What else we got?
One of the guys is asked about the visual approach on tips.
Any
Ooh.
team has a visual approach.
Tips for the visual approach.
A320, right? Yeah.
Yes. Let me see who asked
Man,
that.
I need my glasses.
1-1. 1-1.
I need my high
The one
definition.
that you call 1-1.
1-1.
1-1?
Yeah. Here's my tips for the visual approach. Okay. First thing, never turn final shorter than 5 miles out. Ever. 5 miles away, 5 times 3, 15, 1,500 feet. I need to be 5 miles away, 1,500 feet. If you're trying to turn final shorter than 1,500 feet and shorter than 5 miles, it's going to be unstable.
And be careful when you accept visual approach, because you're on your own.
Exactly right. That's why some people are hesitant to say, report the field in
That's it.
sight, and they don't want to say field in sight.
That's right.
Because you're on your own. Okay, so 5 miles minimum is what I would say. Apart from that, use the flight path vector. Some people don't like the bird. I use the bird on visual approaches. I think it's very helpful.
You use the bird!
When are you going to lunch? Now? Still? Woo, boy! All right,
Gabi.
let's keep going while we wait for this to go.
Emilio Costa.
Emilio Osa. Emilio, what's going on, baby?
Gabi.
That's what he said?
Yeah.
Gavin. Yes, please. Let's see. Is there a difference between the procedures you must apply when you have a bird strike in the 7.3 versus 320? Not that I know of, Joel. Please talk about the dual cooling. The dual cooling, my friend, is basically on the 320 Neo, new engine option. It takes longer for the engines to start because they always go through a cooling period. It's a little bit longer than the CEO current engine option. So what happens is they incorporated this feature known as dual cooling. It's a push button on the overhead panel. So when you go to start the engines, if the engine warning display, the upper display, shows dual cooling, you can push it and we can actually have both engines cooled at the same time, something that we cannot do on the CEO or the current engine option. All right? That's kind of it in a nutshell right there. What else? What other questions we got? Hey, are you guys enrolled on our online program? Are you enrolled on our online A320 or 737 ground school? Yay or nay? Are you involved on our online program, 737 or A320? By the way, if you are, we have a live stream. You know, we do webinars like this, live streams for members only. And it is not done on YouTube. It's done on Zoom. It's a private room on Zoom so that I can see your face as well. I can't actually turn the camera around right now, but if you were looking, if you could see what I see, I basically see not only the camera, but I have a big screen in front of me, and I could see everybody that we would have on our virtual Zoom call. So typically we have our members on this screen, and what ends up happening is we're able to interact with you and actually answer some questions with you as if we were right here in person. They're very much detailed, focused conversations, lots of value that we deliver there. We typically do them once a month. If you're not a member and you want to be a member, go to onestepprep.com, and I would highly encourage you to join as the Elite. That's the annual year-round program, and if you're actively enrolled and you're not Elite and you want to upgrade, send Shally an email. She'll give you a little discount code. And I'll put her email right here for you guys, all right? OneStepPrep.com. Let's see. The ACT tanks, what little I know about them as of, I haven't studied up much on those because I don't do extended ops, Arvion. So what little I know about them probably wouldn't be very valuable anyways for me to share with you. But send me an email. I can get more information on you and we can talk about it. If you want to practice airspeed unreliable, is it important to turn on the probe heat? Oh, I see what you're saying. It is important to turn on the probe heat. If you're in the 7.3, you have to turn it on manually after your engine start. It's part of the before taxi flow. If you're doing it on the A320, it'll automatically begin cooling upon first engine start, so no need to do that. Could someone with hundreds of hours on FS Labs land a real A320? Probably. I mean, it may not be too pretty of a landing, at least not on the first. See, because the challenge with, you could probably get pretty close, but you see, one thing you need to realize about simulators, particularly those that are two-dimensional desktop sims, 2D. In other words, you're not in a real life sim, you're not in a full motion sim. There's no simulation of G-forces, right? When you're flying on a sim, particularly on a desktop sim, there's no simulation of G-forces. You don't feel anything. Even in a level D motion sim, you don't feel anything either. In terms of anything more than 1G. You're going to feel some forces. You'll feel like you're accelerating, like you're decelerating, because it'll pitch up and down and side to side, right? But it doesn't, you can't sense positive G loading because the sim doesn't spin. So you could probably do it. You know, I don't know how pretty that first landing would be, but you could get it done. So hey, look, I'm going to leave you guys off with a couple things. First and foremost, we have a 3-day class. First and foremost, thank you for being here. That's the first thing. The second thing is we have a 3-day class coming up for the A320. It's June 28, 29, and 30th. onestepprep.com/3 days. I know the date on that link still shows...
10, 12, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, that date's, we need to update that. That was an old date. That was an old date, so we're going to update that. Don't worry about that, but just enroll at that link because we're going to use the same link, and we'll just update that those dates. It's going to be June 28, 29, 30th. Look, if you want to come in person, we'd love to have you here. It's going to be in Miami. It's 3 days. It's in person. It's in person. It's in person. If you want to join virtually, you can do virtually as well. Prices $997 for the in-person, $297 for the virtual stream. The virtual stream is done via Zoom. It will very much be as close as it can be to you being here with us in person. We're going to see you live in a chat room. We'll have you on a big screen, and we'll answer all your questions, all right? Let's see, what else we got? 737. I know what you're laughing at.
19.
Yeah. July 19, 20, 21. July 19, 20, and 21. We also have a 737 ground school. July 19, 20, 21. We don't have a link for that yet, but
We can use the same link.
yeah, that's true. We can use it, and then we can specify, right?
Yeah.
So just go to onestepprep.com/3 days and enroll there, whether you're interested in June or July, and then Shally will reach out to you, and then we'll plug you in to the right class, all right? Your fitness is an inspiration. What's your workout routine? We're going to start One Step Physiques, because physique is spelled with a P, right? So it falls under the 1SP umbrella, One Step Physique. What's my fitness routine, brother? I don't even know, man. That's a whole other thing. But I do work out usually 4 days a week. That's all I can tell you. Eat clean and work out, brother. Flight path vector or bird, either one. I know there's a bunch of questions going on here. Man, I love doing these things with you guys and answering these questions. I really do. I wish I can get to all these. Let me see if I can hit them real quick. Chrono for base. Okay, that's your SOP. When do you require to declare a Mayday for fuel? When you got little to no gas. You know, there's bingo fuel. Bingo fuel means you need to go somewhere ASAP, right? You need priority, basically. Your minimum fuel. It's not a Mayday fuel, it's minimum fuel. And then once you start to get below that, it's probably going to become an emergency. When doing an RNAV app, why does the flight director need to be turned off, and what does a burn on or burn off mean? The reason for the flight director off is to guarantee speed mode in the FMA, which is a variable thrust mode. I spent 2 hours talking about variable thrust versus fixed thrust actually in this last 3-day course. I'd very highly encourage you to go there and check that out. onestepprep.com/3 days. Hey, pleasure being with you all. Look forward to seeing you on another live stream. We're going to sign off with this. Shally's got to get running. I actually have a phone call that's going to be coming in here shortly, and I don't want to interrupt you guys again. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a great week ahead. Send us email, send us questions, reach out to us. Hope to see you here in person on the next live stream, or maybe on a private Zoom meeting as a member or an attendee of our class. I'll see you soon.